In today's video, I will show you how to use the Spotify API. Once you have everything set up, this is what the final result will look like. I'm using a free application called Postman to easily make API calls, but once you have everything set up, you can then make the API call by hitting the send button, and now you see all the results based on the API call that we just made. In this specific example, we're looking at an artist called Griffin, and here we can see all the results that relate to Griffin, such as the number of followers he has, the type of music he makes, as well as all the other information that this API offers. So to start this process, just go to this website, developers.spotify.com. Once you're on this page, just click on the console tab. And now I will show you how to make that exact API call that I just showed. So if you just go to the left-hand side, just click on search, and then click on this endpoint, v1 /search. Then we can click on the API reference link to learn more about this endpoint. Once you click on a link, it should look like this. Here we can see that it takes two query parameters, one called Q, which is just the query that we're searching for, as well as the type, which is the type of like item that we're looking for. So it can be an album, artist, playlist, and so on. There are other query parameters it takes in, but those are the two most important ones to know for right now. So if we go back to the previous page and we just type in Griffin, and for the type, just make sure to type artist, then we can leave the other fields blank. And here for the OAuth token, just make sure to click on get token and then click on request token and then agree to the prompt that pops up. And once you've done that, then you can just click on try it. And if we scroll down, we should now see the response that we get back from the API. To make the response a little easier to read, we can actually just copy the curl command that Spotify gave us here and open up Postman and just import this API call, which we can do by just going to the Postman options up at the top and clicking on File and then Import. And then for raw text, just paste in what we copied and hit continue and just hit import. And now you should have the exact API call that Spotify made in the browser in the previous page. Once you have it pasted inside Postman, you can just hit send. And now you should see the exact same response that we just got back. And those are the basics on how to use the Spotify Search API endpoint. Just as another quick example, I'm going to show you another API call that I made with the exact same endpoint. However, this time I'm looking for a specific track based on this specific query. And once I hit send, you can now see all the information that relates back to this specific track, such as like the artist, in this case it's going to be Griffin again, and all the other information that relates to this track, such as like other artists on the track as you see here. The next endpoint I want to show you is how to view all of your playlists for your current Spotify account. So if we go back to documentation and click on playlist, and then click on get users playlist endpoint here, we can see that before we can make the API call, we need a user ID for our current like account that we're logged in with. So we can actually do that by clicking on the user's profile tab over here and then click on get user's current profile. Then just click on get token and make sure to click on both these checkboxes here at the top and click request token and click agree. And then just click on try it. Now you should see the response here on the right hand side and just scroll down till you see the ID key and just copy the value here. Once you have the ID, we can just go back to playlist and then go back to the get users playlist endpoint and just paste in the user ID and then click on get token again and make sure to check both these boxes and click request token and just agree again. Then we can just click on try it and you should now see the response that we get back, but we're just going to do the same thing, open up a Postman. That way it's a little bit easier to read. I've already done that here, but once you import the request, it should look exactly the same and just hit send. Once you hit send, you should now see all this information back. And here on line 19, you can see that I get back all my playlists, and I only have one playlist right now, but it's called My Playlist 1. And then you can see all the information regarding your specific playlist. If we go to my actual Spotify, this is what it looks like. And as you see here, I just have one single playlist called My Playlist Number 1, and it has a couple of songs on it. Now I'll show you how to use another Spotify endpoint to add songs to your specific playlist. So if we go back to the documentation and click on playlist and click on add items to playlist, you see here that we just need a playlist ID, which we can get by going back to Postman and looking at the playlist API call that we made earlier and looking for the ID field and just copying it. Once you have it copied, we can go back to the add items to playlist API call and just paste in the playlist ID. Then for the URIs, we just need to look for a specific like identifier for a specific track that we want to add. So if we go back to Postman and look at our previous API call where we looked up this specific song, and if we scroll all the way to the bottom, we should see a URI key and just copy the value here, and it should start with Spotify :track. Then we can go back to the Spotify add items to playlist API call and just paste in for the URI. And make sure to click on get token and click both of these boxes at the top and click request token and just agree to it. And once you've done that, just click on try it. And if we look at the response, we should get back the snapshot ID, which means it got successfully added. And now if we look at our Spotify playlist, we can see that this song got added here. And that is the end of this tutorial. Hopefully you have a better idea of how the Spotify API works now. And if this video helped you in any way, please like the video and don't forget to subscribe for more content.